The Akagera savannah, Rwanda's last great wilderness, is not merely an arena of brute force. Here, every breath drawn is a calculation weighed against risk. Every step, a deliberate move on a chessboard where life and death are the only stakes. We often celebrate fangs and claws, the blunt instruments of survival. But sometimes, on these contested plains, the brain proves to be the supreme weapon that turns the entire tide of battle. Every passing second is a trial for instincts honed across countless generations, encoded in muscle memory and sharpened by 1 billion sunrises. Welcome to WildVerse, where intelligence and muscle collide to determine who rules the grassland. Akagera, 3 in the morning, no moon. The savannah holds its breath beneath a canopy of equatorial stars. A silhouette detaches from the darkness low, stocky, moving flush against the earth without stirring a single leaf. Muscle ripples beneath tawny fur, as each paw finds its mark with surgical quiet. The lead lioness halts mid-stride, every sinew locking into position. Both forepaws pin the ground like anchors. Golden eyes, glowing faintly in the starlight, lock onto a herd of Cape buffalo sleeping 130 feet ahead. Behind her, 5 more lionesses fan into a flawless arc, 3 sealing the right flank, 2 cutting off the only retreat toward the papyrus marsh. No sound, no signal, only the accumulated experience of thousands of hunts. Seven lions from South Africa were released into Akagera, 2 males, 5 females. A historic reintroduction that ended more than a decade without an apex predator atop the food chain. Two additional males arrived later to broaden the genetic pool and prevent the bottleneck that threatens small founder populations. A lion dynasty was being rebuilt from nothing, one hunt, one generation at a time. Tonight, the lead lioness does not hunt out of hunger. She hunts to teach her daughter's young lionesses that have never brought down a full-grown Cape buffalo. The bull at the head of the herd lurches upright. Nearly 2,000 pounds of corded muscle, bone, and fighting instinct. The fused horn boss crowning its forehead is as thick as poured concrete. Three seconds. The savannah erupts. Dust spirals upward, blotting out the stars. Roars crash against one another. Through the Akagera night, lion and buffalo, indistinguishable. The youngest lioness sinks her teeth into a buffalo's neck for the first time. She trembles, but she does not let go. Beside her, her mother pins the prey's hind legs, teaching through action, not sound. When dawn creeps across the savannah, the pride lies around the carcass. Bellies swollen, muzzles crusted red. The young lioness licks blood from her paw, the first lesson complete. Across the African savannah, a question as old as the grasslands themselves, millions of years in the asking, remains unanswered. Brain or brawn in this theater of evolution, which ultimately decides who lives and who dies. Fangs, horns, jaws, Sheer numbers, every species on this grassland wields a weapon honed by natural selection. But any creature that relies on a single advantage alone will not endure the trials that Akagera imposes. From the political cunning of baboons to the cross-generational memory of elephants, each species on this grassland carries a strategy sharpened over millions of years of trial and elimination, a blueprint written not in ink, but in survival itself. Lions have the pride, leopards have darkness, crocodiles have time, hippos hold territory beneath the water, and the black rhino carries a horn the entire world covets. Yet intelligence, for all its power, has its limits. In Akagera, there is a threshold beyond which even the most sophisticated neural architecture cannot provide protection. The story begins not with the strongest nor the fastest, but with the most cunning creature on the African grassland. Consider the baboon. Among Africa's wildlife, few species possess a brain as complex, as calculating, and as devious as the Chacma baboon, the largest of all baboon species, and a primate that has elevated politics to an art of survival. With a cranial capacity of roughly 140 cubic centimeters, comparable in relative size to some of the great apes, they rank among the primates, with the highest social intelligence anywhere on the African grasslands. Scientists call this form of cognition Machiavellian intelligence, named after the Renaissance political theorist. Not a brain built for solving abstract equations, but one exquisitely calibrated for manipulation, coalition building, and strategic betrayal. An adult male weighs close to 90 pounds of compact, combative muscle. Canines stretching 2 inches long protrude from powerful jaws, sharper than the fangs of a leopard and capable of inflicting wounds that rival those of any predator. Yet fangs are not the baboon's primary weapon. Strategy, cold, deliberate, and ruthlessly applied is. Within a baboon troop, power does not belong to the largest individual or the one with the longest fangs. It belongs to the one with the most allies, the one who has invested the most in social capital. The alpha male holds his throne not through violence alone, but through a web of carefully maintained alliances, grooming partners for hours each day, guarding their offspring against rival males, sharing choice morsels of foraged food. When the coalition fractures, the alpha fractures with it. Power in this society, much like in human politics, is not inherited but constructed on loyalty. A deposed male does not merely lose mating rights. He is pushed to the fringe of the troop, stripped of feeding priority, abandoned by former allies. Sometimes the ousted leader dies not at the jaws of a leopard or a lion, but at the hands of the very allies who turned their backs. Loyalty in the wild always carries a price. But the political intelligence of baboons extends far beyond internal power struggles. At Ruaha, Tanzania, field researchers documented a phenomenon that challenged conventional understanding of animal behavior, an interspecies pact forged between mortal enemies. Baboons and lionesses coexist within overlapping ranges without open conflict. This is not peace in any conventional sense. This is a treaty cold, pragmatic, and mutually enforced. The baboon troop serves as sentinels. From elevated ground, they monitor every movement across the grassland. When a mutual threat appears, a leopard slipping into the territory, or an aggressive buffalo closing in the baboon's alarm, call sounds first. The lionesses hear the alarm and prepare muscles coiling, eyes scanning the bush. In return, in an arrangement that defies the usual rules of predation, the lionesses do not attack the troop. A tacit accord, unspoken yet obeyed by both sides. A cost-benefit calculation so sophisticated that only a species possessing advanced social cognition could conceive and maintain it across generations. But every treaty has its boundaries. The baboon's most dangerous enemy is not the lion, it is the leopard. The leopard, weighing roughly 130 pounds of lean, explosive muscle. Its coat covered in rosette markings, each spot a unique spiral that never repeats, like a fingerprint etched in fur. In Akagera, the leopard reigns as the most successful nocturnal predator in the reserve. No noise, no pack, no wasted movement, only darkness, stealth, and a patience that borders on the infinite. After nightfall, the leopard's eyes become weapons. The tapetum lucidum, a mirror-like membrane behind the retina, amplifies light 6 times more efficiently than the human eye. Darkness, the very veil that conceals prey from every other hunter, becomes the leopard's absolute and exclusive advantage. An adult leopard can haul a kill weighing twice its own body mass into a tree more than 30 feet above the ground. Beyond the reach of any earthbound scavenger or rival predator, a risk calculation energy expenditure versus caloric return that only a solitary hunter operating without the safety net of a pack ever needs to make. On the ground, a leopard must compete with lions and other kleptoparasites. Dragging the kill aloft, it keeps the meal for itself. The strategy of the solitary predator, perfected over millennia. No pack to share the spoils, no allies to call upon, only dense muscle, infinite patience, and eyes that pierce the darkest African night. But when confronted by a full baboon troop in broad daylight, 40 or 50 pairs of eyes tracking every movement, every one of the leopard's advantages dissolves. Baboons respond with a tactic known as mobbing. 20, 30, sometimes 50 individuals encircle the predator. Screaming, bearing dagger-like canines, charging from every conceivable direction in a coordinated frenzy. One baboon is prey. 50 baboons, each armed with 2-inch fangs and furious intent, are a predator's worst nightmare. The leopard's success rate when attacking an adult baboon in daylight inside the troop is virtually zero. Baboons account for less than 5% of the leopard's diet. That statistic tells the entire story. But darkness rewrites the equation entirely. When night falls and the troop retreats to cliff faces for safety, those individuals sleeping at the outer edge, or Zoot is the youngest, the weakest, the least socially connected, become devastatingly easy targets. No alarm sounds, no mobbing rally forms, no alliance forged in daylight can rescue the one caught in deep, vulnerable sleep at the cliff's outer edge. The leopard scales the rock face in absolute silence, claws gripping stone without producing a whisper of sound. It selects its quarry, strikes, and vanishes before the troop can wake. Machiavellian intelligence, the baboon's greatest evolutionary asset, saves it by day. But after dark, when allies cannot see and coalitions cannot form, that intelligence is rendered worthless. And if the leopard is the enemy the baboon can see, there is another threat, one entirely invisible. The African rock python, more than 16 feet of coiled, patterned muscle, weighing over 220 pounds, Africa's largest serpent. A masterpiece of natural selection, tens of millions of years of evolution, distilled into a single instrument, engineered for one purpose alone, constriction. The rock python does not chase its prey. It waits, for hours, for days, for weeks if necessary. Lying motionless beneath a blanket of decaying leaves, its heat-sensing labial pits scanning the surroundings until the quarry steps within reach. When it strikes, the speed defies the naked eye, a blur of patterned muscle launching forward at a velocity that the human brain cannot process in real time. Coils lock around the victim in a single, suffocating instant. With each exhaled breath, the python tightens its grip a fraction more. Researchers have demonstrated that death arrives not from suffocation, but from cardiac arrest. The python detects the prey's heartbeat through its own skin. Each pulse grows fainter. The snake knows precisely when the victim has died. Only when the heart ceases entirely does the coil relax. Tens of millions of years of evolution have produced a flawless cardiac monitor, a biological pressure sensor wrapped in scales. Against this primordial predator, all political intelligence, all carefully negotiated alliances, all coordinated mobbing tactics are rendered meaningless. The Machiavellian brain the baboon's supreme evolutionary advantage, is utterly powerless before pure, unhurried compression. But in Akagera, brute force does not always prevail. Leave the baboon troop and its Machiavellian politics behind, and step into terrain where the rules are written in bone and horn, and every footfall could be the last. Akagera. Over 430 square miles of rolling grassland, sun-bleached open woodland, and papyrus-choked wetland, Central Africa's largest protected wetland ecosystem. A landscape where every survival strategy ever devised by evolution is put to its ultimate test. "18 eastern black rhinos were translocated from South Africa in a landmark conservation operation. The species once native to these hills had been absent from Rwanda for more than a decade, hunted to local extinction. Five more individuals from European zoos joined afterward. Each one carries on its shoulders the weight of an entire critically endangered species on the IUCN Red List. In Akagera, they were given a second chance. Weighing more than 2,200 pounds of solid, armor-plated frame, a keratin horn stretching beyond 2 feet, growing continuously throughout the animal's lifetime. The black rhino is the living embodiment of primal, ungovernable power. The kind of power that needs no strategy, no coalition, no cunning, just mass and fury channeled through a single devastating point. When threatened, the black rhino charges head-on at speeds exceeding 30 miles per hour. No calculation, no hesitation, only a 2-foot horn and 2,000 pounds of momentum. The rhino's eyesight is exceedingly poor. It is virtually blind beyond 30 feet, but hearing and smell compensate for everything. Ears rotate independently, like satellite dishes, scanning every direction. The rhino's olfactory system detects an intruder from more than half a mile away, even against the wind. Yet that simplicity, raw force wielded without intellect drove this species to the brink of extinction. The keratin horn became the most coveted commodity on the black market, and no survival strategy could outrun a bullet. Under African Parks management, Akagera's black rhinos are guarded with iron resolve, 24-hour armed patrols, aerial surveillance, canine tracking teams, and rangers who stake their lives on this species' future. Their comeback is proof of a deeper truth. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from the outside, from the will of humans determined to right a wrong. But not every confrontation here demands horns or fangs. One species fights with the simplest weapon of all height. The Maasai giraffe, the tallest animal on Earth. An adult male rises to nearly 20 feet, its heart pumping blood upward at a pressure twice that of any other mammal. a tongue stretching 18 to 20 inches, coated in dark violet melanin, a natural shield against ultraviolet radiation. Every day, the giraffe extends that prehensile tongue through forests of razor-sharp acacia, thorns, spines capable of puncturing a leather boot, curling individual leaves with a dexterity that few species on the continent can rival. Atop the skull sit two ossicones, not hollow like antelope horns, but solid bone throughout. In older males, calcium deposits thicken the bone over time, adding layer upon layer of density. The ossicone transforms from a blunt stub into a lethal close combat weapon. When two males compete for mating rights during the breeding season, they engage in a ritual combat known as necking, one of the most striking displays of strength in Africa. Necks exceeding 6 feet sway like organic suspension bridges, then slam into each other with bone-jarring force. Each blow delivers the kinetic energy of a heavyweight punch. The crack of impact carries far across the grassland, audible from hundreds of yards away. Yet despite the violence of the display, most contests end without bloodshed or lasting injury. The weaker male retreats. The stronger earns mating rights. Ritual governs these encounters, though a precisely placed strike to the cervical vertebrae can render an opponent unconscious. Maasai giraffes from Kenya were reintroduced to Akagera. Today, their silhouettes stand as living icons of this reborn landscape. But Akagera is not shaped solely by the giants that tear open the sky. When the gaze drops below the acacia canopy and into the sun-scorched grass, the rhythm of the grassland grows harsher, more urgent, and infinitely more dangerous. At ground level, violence is no longer a display of dominance or ceremony. This arena demands armored warriors carrying weapons that can truly kill. The roan antelope, weighing up to 660 pounds, standing nearly 5 feet at the shoulder, with a distinctive black and white facial mask, one of Africa's largest antelope species. Akagera stands as one of their last critical strongholds on the entire African continent, a refuge where this declining species still thrives in viable numbers. Curved horns sweeping backward from the crown, ridged along their length and tapering to lethal points, these are not ornamental. They are genuine combat weapons, capable of goring any attacker reckless enough to press the charge. A single thrust from a roan antelope can puncture a lion's abdomen. Few predators dare a head-on confrontation. But the most notable trait of the roan antelope is not individual strength or the sharpness of its horns. It is how they organize when danger arrives. Roan antelope society operates as a strict matriarchy. The dominant female leads every migration. Males patrol the perimeter and defend against threats. When a predator approaches, the roan herd does not scatter in panic. It does not flee. It turns and faces the threat, They form a phalanx, adults facing outward, each pair of curved horns aimed at the enemy. Calves are pushed into the center of the protective ring. This formation transforms the herd from prey into a fortress bristling with blades. Lions see a wall of horns and usually choose an easier target. Organizational intelligence. The way each individual knows its position and holds that position as death bears down. Which strategy do you believe is most effective, individual strength or collective formation? Share your thoughts with WildVerse in the comments below. But in Akagera, all of these strategies, fangs, horns, stripes, formations, are tested by a single truth. The wilderness has no rules. The strongest can fall to the most patient. The smartest can lose to the most numerous. Ahead, where the golden grassland meets the papyrus-choked marshland, the fiercest and most brutal confrontations in all of Akagera lie in wait. Where raw power, underwater territory, and savage force collide in a natural arena without a referee. The hippopotamus, a creature most of the world considers gentle and almost comical round barrel belly, small beady eyes, yawning lazily beneath the equatorial sun. That image is the most dangerous illusion in all of Africa. Hippos kill more people than any other large mammal on this continent. More than lions, more than crocodiles, more than Cape buffalo. An adult male weighs up to 4,000 pounds of densely packed bulk, its body stretching beyond 16 feet from snout to tail. Standing on the riverbank, legs half buried in mud, it appears sluggish and inoffensive. But beneath the surface, the hippo moves with astonishing speed. Feet touching the riverbed, the body glides through water like an armored submarine. On land, they reach nearly 30 miles per hour, faster than any human sprinter. At Lake Ihema, the beating heart of Akagera's wetlands hippo density ranks among the highest in East Africa. Herds of more than 50 jostle on the water's surface, each occupying a position won through blood. The hippo's bite force reaches nearly 2,000 psi, 3 times that of a lion. Jaws gape to almost 150 degrees, the widest opening of any living mammal. Lower canines grow up to 20 inches long, continuously self-sharpening as they grind against the upper tusks. Not for eating hippos graze on grass. The canines exist for a single purpose: to kill. Hippo skin measures nearly 2 inches thick along the back and flanks natural armor that a lion's fangs can barely penetrate. But that hide contains no sweat glands. Under the African sun, the hippo dehydrates rapidly. That is why it spends 16 hours a day submerged. The skin secretes a viscous red fluid once called blood sweat. In reality, it is a blend of hipposudoric and norhipposudoric acid, a natural barrier against ultraviolet radiation and bacteria. Modern science has managed to decode and synthesize this very compound in the laboratory. Yet it remains profoundly unstable, breaking down almost instantly. 40 million years of evolution have bestowed upon the hippopotamus a flawless, remarkably stable sunscreen, an exquisite biochemical masterpiece that human ingenuity has yet to fully replicate for our own practical use. Beneath the surface of Lake Ihema, bull hippos establish territories with merciless aggression. Every stretch of river, every deep pool has an owner. Trespassers are attacked immediately. Two bulls charge each other, jaws flung wide, tusks clashing with enough force to split a wooden boat in half. Territorial battles can last for hours. Blood stains the water red. The loser carries scars for life if it survives at all. On land, the hippo becomes an entirely different creature. Each night, they leave the water to graze, consuming roughly 80 pounds of grass before dawn. They follow fixed routes, hippo trails, worn deep into the riverbank across generations. These ancient paths become natural water channels, reshaping the topography of the wetland. Hippo dung, thousands of pounds deposited on the lake floor every day, is the primary nutrient source for the entire aquatic ecosystem. Fish, algae, microorganisms all depend on this cycle. Scientists call the hippo an ecosystem engineer, a species that does not merely inhabit its environment, but rebuilds it in ways no other creature can replicate. Female hippos give birth underwater, a newborn weighing roughly 100 pounds, and it must swim to the surface to draw its very first breath. A hippo mother defends her calf with ferocity beyond all measure. Crocodiles, lions, even fellow bull hippos, anything approaching the calf faces jaws flung wide open. But intelligence is not the hippo's forte. They do not forge coalitions like baboons. They do not coordinate hunts like lions. They do not communicate with the subtlety of elephants. The hippo fights with the simplest tools available: raw strength, territory, and aggression that accepts no negotiation. When lions approach the waterline after dark, the hippo does not flee. It charges straight at the predator. Lions, for all their tactical sophistication, usually choose to retreat. In Akagera, the hippo stands as proof of a blunt reality. Sometimes, intelligence cannot defeat pure force. Sometimes, the biggest, the most aggressive, simply wins. With more than 200 individuals already ranging beyond the park's borders, Akagera's hippo population is booming proof that brute force remains a strategy endorsed by time itself. The contest between intellect and raw power in Akagera has no final act. It plays out every night, when hippos leave the water and tread into the lion's domain. And in the midst of that nightly contest between cunning and power, a third species stands unflinching, unmoved by both lion and hippo. The African Cape buffalo, the Black Death, the name bestowed by African hunters upon the animal that even lions approach with caution. An adult bull weighs close to 2,000 pounds, standing more than 5.5 feet at the shoulder, its gaze carrying the flat hostility of an animal that has survived everything. A body packed with corded muscle, sheathed in a hide so thick that tsetse flies struggle to penetrate it. Older bulls carry dozens of scars, each a testament to encounters with lions they survived. But the most fearsome weapon sits atop the skull, the fused horn boss, a single slab of bone shielding the entire cranium. A charge from a full-grown buffalo delivers enough force to flip a lion's body through the air. Lions know this. They have learned the cost of underestimating that horn. A pride will almost never attack a solitary bull standing its ground. But when lions target a calf or an aging cow lagging behind the herd, the equation shifts entirely, and the buffalo's collective fury awakens. The herd responds with a counterattack. Adults wheel around, line up shoulder to shoulder, and charge directly into the lion pride with horns lowered. Hundreds of buffalo, each close to 1,000 pounds, stampeding in unified fury. The ground trembles. Dust billows upward, obscuring everything. Lionesses are forced to release their kill and run. In a war of numbers, the heavier side always prevails. Cape buffalo routinely return to rescue herd members already seized by lions, the only species in Africa that does this systematically. Not out of sentiment, but because the herd needs every individual to sustain its defensive strength. The individual power of a Cape buffalo is formidable, but the collective power of the herd is nearly invincible. Sharing Akagera's landscape, another species exists smaller, swifter, and precise, down to the fraction of an inch, the serval. Weighing roughly 30 pounds, barely a fraction of a lion's mass, yet possessing the longest legs of any cat relative to body size, giving it the proportions of an athlete sculpted for explosive vertical power. Oversized satellite dish ears rotate a full 180 degrees independently of each other, forming a flawless biological radar that misses nothing. They register every sound the grassland produces. The scratch of a mole rat shifting through underground tunnels, the muffled flutter of a quail beating its wings through waist-high grass, even the faint rasp of an insect's legs crossing bare soil. The serval's hunting success rate stands at 50% double that of the lion, and one of the highest of any wild cat on Earth. Not because it is stronger, because it is more precise. The serval wastes no energy. Every leap is a calculation angle, distance, wind speed. Capable of 50 miles per hour and vertical leaps exceeding 5 feet from a standing position, the serval transforms every hunt into calculated artistry. It needs neither the lion's power, nor the hippo's jaws, nor the buffalo's formation. It needs only precision, and in Akagera, precision sometimes outvalues everything. Lions, hippos, Cape buffalo, serval, each species carries a distinct strategy: strength, brute force, numbers, precision. But the answer to the opening question, brain or brawn, lies with none of them. It rests with the final two species, two creatures, representing the oldest forms of intelligence. One wields patience, the other wields memory. Consider the patient one first, the creature that has outlasted every other predator on this list, the Nile crocodile. A reptile that has persisted, virtually unchanged in form, for more than 200 million years, surviving all 5 mass extinction events that reshaped life on Earth, including the asteroid impact that erased the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. While millions of species vanished, the crocodile endured, unchanged, no need for change. The design was perfected from the start. Bite force, exceeding 3,000 psi, among the most powerful jaw pressures ever recorded in a living animal, strong enough to crush the femur of a full-grown zebra in a single closing motion. Along the jawline, thousands of microscopic integumentary sensory organs, dome-shaped pressure receptors unique to crocodilians, line the skin, each one 10 times more sensitive than a human fingertip. The crocodile detects the faintest ripple on the water. An antelope drinking 10 feet away, the crocodile knows its exact position, its weight, and its drinking rhythm. And it waits, not for minutes, not for hours. The Nile crocodile can fast for months on end. Heart rate drops to just a few beats per minute. Metabolism falls to a bare minimum. The body shifts into an energy conservation mode that no mammal can emulate. Patience, not as a virtue, but as a survival strategy deployed on a scale where time itself becomes a weapon no warm-blooded creature can wield. When prey steps within range, the strike unfolds in a fraction of a second. Jaws snap shut. Then comes the death roll, the armored body spinning on its axis to wrench the victim apart. But the very jaws that deal death with such mechanical precision are also, paradoxically, the gentlest instruments in the wild. A female crocodile incubates her eggs for 80 to 90 days, fasting, guarding the nest without leaving it for a single second. 3 months without food. Her body loses up to 30% of its mass, but her amber eyes never leave the mound of earth that holds her future. When the eggs hatch, the mother uses her own jaws capable of 3,000 psi, to gently lift each hatchling and carry it to the water. Bite force applied. 0. Not a single pound of pressure. Jaw control at a level of finesse that science has yet to fully explain or replicate. The most savage power and the most absolute tenderness, two extremes that seem irreconcilable yet coexist within the body of a single creature. Yet 75% of crocodile nests are destroyed before they hatch by Nile monitors, by baboons, by nature itself. The mother knows this, knows the odds are stacked against her clutch. And still she guards, still she fasts, still she waits, day after sun-baked day. Patience, not blind instinct, but a decision. A decision to invest every reserve of energy in the next generation, despite knowing that most will not survive. Is that intelligence? Or is it something deeper still? Something 200 million years of evolution have carved into bone? The answer may lie with the final species in this story, the one whose weapon is not force, not stealth, but something far older. The African elephant, the largest land animal on Earth, and perhaps the species with the most extraordinary memory. 26 orphaned calves from Bugesera were brought to Akagera. 26 small lives, stripped of mothers, stripped of herds, stripped of everything an elephant needs to understand the world. Today, Akagera's elephant population exceeds 133 individuals. From 26 to over 130. That revival stretches across more than half a century. An adult elephant requires between 330 and 440 pounds of food each day. It must spend 16 of every 24 hours eating to sustain its weight. Every footstep an elephant takes reshapes the landscape. They topple trees to strip bark. They excavate earth for minerals. They carve pathways that dozens of other species follow. But what makes the elephant truly exceptional is not its size or its appetite. It is the brain, and what that brain remembers. The temporal lobe of the elephant, the brain region responsible for memory, is larger than that of any other land animal. The matriarch, always the oldest female, remembers the location of water sources from 30 years past. During drought, that memory is the difference between life and death for the entire herd. Elephants communicate through infrasound frequencies below the human hearing threshold, transmitted through the ground over distances exceeding 6 miles. Fat pads in their feet detect these seismic vibrations. Elephants listen with their feet. A matriarchal society. Knowledge passed from mother to daughter. Each generation adds another layer of memory to the herd's survival map. And when a member of the herd dies, elephants do not simply walk away. They do something that no other land mammal does. They stand beside the fallen body. Trunks reach down to touch the cold remains with unmistakable gentleness. Sometimes they stand for hours in silence, no feeding, no movement, no sound. Elephants return to the bones of fallen companions years afterward. They recognize the bones of their own herd members and linger longer than they would beside the bones of strangers. Emotional intelligence, not abstract language, not political strategy, but the capacity to remember and the capacity to grieve. Akagera today, home to lions, leopards, Cape buffalo, elephants, and black rhinos, is a complete Big Five landscape. This revival ranks among the most remarkable conservation achievements anywhere on the African continent. The transformation of a park, once ravaged by unchecked poaching and civil conflict, into a thriving, self-sustaining ecosystem. Under African Park's stewardship, the wildlife's greatest enemy, humankind, has become its ally. The white-backed vulture, a critically endangered species teetering on the edge of continental extinction, is finding sanctuary within Akagera's protected borders. With a wingspan exceeding 7 feet, they ride thermal currents to altitudes of 10,000 feet. From that height, their acute eyes detect a carcass 4 miles away. A flock of 50 descending on a carcass can strip a 200-pound antelope down to bare bone in 20 minutes flat. No cleanup crew in the natural world operates with greater speed or efficiency. The vulture's stomach carries a pH close to 1 acidic enough to neutralize anthrax, cholera, and botulism bacteria. They cleanse the dead, preventing disease from spreading. Lose the vulture, and the ecosystem loses its immune system, the invisible sanitation network that has kept African grasslands free of epidemic disease for millennia. Akagera understands this truth intimately. Across this vast African landscape, after all the blood and silence, the opening question has finally found its answer. Brain or brawn in the great arena of Akagera, which ultimately decides who lives and who dies. The answer after 200 million years of evidence is neither one alone. Baboons survive through cunning, lions through the pride, hippos through brute force, Cape buffalo through numbers, roan antelope through formation, the serval through precision, leopards through the dark. Crocodiles endure through patience, the black rhino through 11th-hour human intervention. But elephants survive through something no other species can match: memory. In Akagera, the ultimate survivor is not the strongest, not the fastest, not the smartest, and not the most aggressive. It is the one that remembers the last drought, remembers the dried well, remembers the paths of its ancestors. The one that remembers the past is the one that lives into the future. Thank you for journeying with WildVerse. The natural world still holds countless stories waiting to be told. If you have not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time. We will see you on the next expedition. The lion, sovereign of the savannah. Its authority is found not in solitude, but in family. Its power is forged in cooperation. This is the kingdom of the lion, a world where courage is measured in protection. A pride is not merely a collection, but a structured society, bound by unwritten laws. The heart of the pride is the lioness's sisters, mothers, and tireless hunters. Together, they weave a network of cooperation, a living tapestry of kinship and instinct. A newborn cub is not its mother's charge alone, but the child of the entire pride. For the young, life begins as a game, honing the skills they will one day need. But beneath such innocence lies a harsher truth. Every dawn is a wager, and a constant hunger drives the hunt. The savannah is both generous and cruel. It offers life in abundance, yet it exacts a heavy price for every meal. To eat, the lions must hunt, and their strength lies in their unity. Every footstep is calculated, every movement a whisper of silent communication. Their golden coats blend perfectly with the sun-scorched grasses, a lethal camouflage. Hunting as a pride, they employ sophisticated tactics. Some lionesses drive the prey toward an ambush, where others lie in wait to strike. A single misstep from the prey is all it takes. In a breathtaking instant, the chase is over. Tonight, the pride will feast. But rivals do not only come from their own kind. In the shadows, the hyenas watch. Intelligent and relentless, they wait for a moment of exhaustion after the kill. Born survivors, spotted hyenas possess a muscular frame adapted for endurance and power. They live in large, matriarchal clans, led by an alpha female who holds absolute authority. Contrary to myth, hyenas are not just scavengers. They are intelligent, strategic hunters. Their cooperative abilities and communication skills can rival those of some primates. Their infamous laugh is no chaotic chorus. It is a complex language of identity and position, a way to summon the clan or declare status. In the contest for food, lions often have the upper hand. Studies show that around 60% of conflicts involve lions stealing kills from hyenas. When hyena numbers are great, however, the balance of power can shift. A clan of 15 to 20 hyenas can overwhelm even a formidable pride of lions. This fierce competition is integral to maintaining the ecosystem's equilibrium. Above, the vultures circle, tireless sentinels, the patient opportunists awaiting a turn. But perhaps the most dangerous adversary is no scavenger. The African buffalo immense and unpredictable, can turn a predator into prey in an instant. For the lions, they are both a great prize and a grave peril. The pride watches from a distance, muscles tensed, eyes fixed. The battle is a maelstrom of dust and fury, where every second counts. The lions must work as one, scattering the herd to isolate a weaker member. But unlike the lion, who rules by the strength of the pride, or the hyena, who survives through tenacity, another predator has but one ace: speed. Here in Kafue National Park, the Southeast African cheetah is the fastest land mammal on Earth. Capable of speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour, its body is a masterpiece of engineering. Unlike most cats, the cheetah is diurnal. It hunts in the golden hours, the early morning and late afternoon, to avoid confrontation with larger predators. In one spectacular burst, it launches into the chase, reaching its top. Its spine is not bone, but a living bow, propelling it across the savannah, not by running, but by flying low over the ground. And yet, the cheetah's success rate is only 50%. The exertion of such an explosive movement pushes its body to its thermal limits. It cannot eat immediately, but needs 5 to 10 minutes to cool down a window of extreme vulnerability. While the cheetah commands the day, another shadow masters the night. Beneath the sparse canopy of the Miombo woodland, the leopard is a master of concealment. Its golden, rosetted coat merges effortlessly with the dappled light. Solitary and largely nocturnal, the leopard relies on the art of the ambush. Rather than chasing, it watches and waits, sometimes for hours on end. When the distance closes, in an explosion of muscle and power, the cat lunges. But a successful hunt is only the beginning. Hidden in the foliage, it can enjoy its prize in peace. The dry season arrives, and a changing climate is reshaping everything. Diminished rainfall and tightening droughts push wildlife into a relentless struggle for survival. Dwindling water sources compel wildebeest, zebra, and buffalo to move. Across the vast plains, tens of thousands of blue wildebeest stir, resuming an ancient journey. Their migration is one of nature's greatest spectacles. Each year, over 1 million wildebeest begin a perilous 1,800-mile journey. Endurance is their greatest defense, but their unity is their shield. While a cheetah can only maintain its top speed for a few hundred yards, the wildebeest can sustain a steady pace for miles. The land itself is an adversary, but greater perils lie in wait. Rivers like the Mara are not just obstacles, they are gateways of death. Beneath the muddy surface, 12-foot Nile crocodiles lie in wait. As Africa's largest crocodilian, they are silent hunters who rely on extraordinary patience. A crocodile can lie motionless for hours, even days, waiting for the perfect moment. As unsuspecting prey approaches the water's edge, there is no warning. In an instant, the water erupts with ferocious violence. With a bite force of 5,000 pounds, the crocodile's power is absolute. Its jaws clamp shut, dragging its victim down into a watery grave. Surviving the river does not guarantee safety. Beyond the banks, the dry grasslands stretch endlessly, an open stage where the predators reign. In this theater of survival, weakness is a death sentence. Here, in this arena, speed is salvation. Thompson's gazelles, small but swift, dart like living arrows, reaching speeds between 50 and 55 miles per hour. They run in an unpredictable zigzag pattern, confounding even the fastest of predators. Moving alongside the wildebeest are the plains zebra. Its distinctive black and white stripes form a unique pattern for each individual. When moving together, these patterns disrupt a predator's vision, creating a dazzling confusion. But escape is not just about speed, it is about strategy. Zebra have mastered the art of the sudden turn, interrupting a predator's pursuit. Endurance is their true weapon, capable of sustaining speed over a great distance. Together, they form a river of life, flowing through the most arid of lands. In Namibia, Etosha National Park is a final refuge. In 2024, Namibia endured its most severe drought in over a century. As water becomes scarce, the herbivores are forced to congregate at the last remaining oases. Their presence attracts predators, turning these waterholes into reluctant battlegrounds. Okaukuiho Camp is famous for its floodlit, man-made waterhole, where life and death converge. Here, predator and prey engage in a silent battle of wits. In the dry season, lions adapt their hunting strategies, shifting from pursuit to ambush. They use the dry grass and earthen mounds for cover, waiting for prey to come within striking range. In the desert heat, lions conserve energy by resting for up to 21 hours a day. Another shadow approaches the waterhole, a creature of ancient times. The black rhinoceros, powerfully built, with its two horns essential for defense. Though its eyesight is very poor, the black rhino lives in a rich world woven from scent. For a solitary animal, communication is written upon the land itself. Dung piles are communal chronicles, a library of odors telling the story of who has passed by. It is an invisible social network, an olfactory map that helps them navigate and communicate. It can survive for several days without drinking directly, obtaining moisture from vegetation. As of 2023, Namibia was home to over 2,200 black rhinos. But with such a concentration comes the heightened risk of poaching. Despite the protection of rangers, GPS tracking, and drones, the black rhino still faces a threat greater than nature: human greed. Another species drawn to the safety of the waterhole is the Thornycroft's giraffe. Geographically isolated, this subspecies has evolved uniquely over millennia. Each individual possesses a unique pattern, as recognizable as a fingerprint. When threatened, it acts as a sentinel, its raised head a living beacon of warning. And should danger approach, it can deliver a kick powerful enough to repel a lion. Under the searing sun, the ostrich strides with confidence. Though flightless, this bird is perfectly adapted to the semi-desert landscape. Its greatest defense lies in its speed, capable of sprinting up to 45 miles per hour. Ostriches are equipped with the largest eyes of any land animal, allowing them to spot movement at great distances. During the breeding season, the male performs his distinctive courtship display. A single communal nest may hold up to 60 eggs. In Etosha's harsh conditions, these eggs become a tempting target for numerous predators. Both the male and female take turns protecting the nest, enduring ground temperatures that can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But not all predators are large and fearsome. As the morning sun rises, a pack of African wild dogs prepares for an early hunt. For centuries, they have perfected the art of the pack hunt. African wild dogs live in tightly bonded social groups, adhering to a clear hierarchy. Their hunting strategy is a masterful blend of speed, coordination, and precision. They engage in high-speed pursuits, exhausting their prey before delivering the final attack. They can reach 41 miles per hour and maintain this pace for 10 to 60 minutes. A standout feature is their specialized dentition, designed to tear flesh with ease. Today, the African wild dog is classified as endangered, with only about 6,600 individuals remaining worldwide. Their struggle is a poignant reminder of the fragility of the wild. Meanwhile, on the floodplains, the Lechwe antelope thrives. Only the males bear the long, lyre-shaped, spiral horns. They are a symbol of adaptation in an ever-changing world. The African savannah simmers under the sun's relentless flame. Every drop of water becomes a prize worth fighting for. Among the savannah's most formidable combatants is the African buffalo. Weighing up to 2,000 pounds, they are living fortresses of muscle and fury. Their curved horns are weapons of war, capable of breaking a lion's bones. A single headbutt can generate a force more than 3 times greater than a lion's bite. But it is not just brute strength that makes them so dangerous. It is intelligence and a formidable memory. They have been known to remember and recognize specific adversaries. A failed hunt today could bring a ferocious reprisal tomorrow. They will proactively circle back to attack a threat they have identified. When threatened, the herd closes ranks, with the young pushed into the center. The adults form an impenetrable wall of muscle and horn. They are a testament to how collective defense can be the ultimate weapon. As the dry season wears on, even the mightiest are tested. Grevy's zebra, the largest of them all, endures the heat by outlasting it. They travel over 20 miles a day in search of water. With a phenomenal memory, they retrace hidden paths to long-forgotten waterholes. Nature has equipped them with a highly efficient circulatory system that acts as a built-in cooling mechanism. But the journey to water is fraught with danger. Lions and hyenas patrol the remaining water sources, knowing that thirst will drive prey within their reach. They time their movements to avoid the most perilous hours. At last, clouds gather on the horizon. When rain falls on the African savannah, it breathes life into the sun-scorched plains. Each drop awakens dormant seeds, heralding a season of rebirth. The savannah becomes a lush wilderness, a dense labyrinth. But this abundance also ushers in a relentless game of survival, where every creature must master the art of concealment. Among the prey, the impala is a master of camouflage. With their sleek, tawny coats, they wear the color of the land itself. They vanish into the foliage as if cloaked in invisibility. Evolution has shaped them into phantoms of the grassland. Even the keen eyes of lions and leopards are strained to detect them. Back with the lion pride, the change of season brings new challenges. The taller grass provides better cover for both predator and prey. Hunts become more difficult, demanding greater patience and coordination. The cubs, now older, begin to join their first hunts. They learn by watching the adult females, mimicking every move. Each successful kill is a lesson hard-earned. Each failure, a reminder of life's unforgiving nature. The pride male still guards his territory, his roar echoing through the humid night. His assertion of dominance is now blended with the sound of distant thunder. The combined roar of the pride can now create a remarkable acoustic effect. It can deceive intruders into thinking the pride is larger than it truly is. It is a form of psychological warfare, an auditory barrier designed to prevent bloody confrontations. The hyenas, their eternal rivals, also thrive in the wet season. More abundant food means fewer direct conflicts, but the competition still simmers. The clan's matriarch leads her own hunts, taking advantage of the dense vegetation. Their social order remains unbroken, a testament to the resilience of their matriarchy. The cheetah faces a dilemma. The tall grass impedes its advantage of speed, making it harder to spot prey and avoid enemies. It must adapt, using termite mounds as vantage points to scan the sea of grass. The leopard, in contrast, flourishes. The veil of vegetation renders it even more invisible. Its ambushes become more effective, its presence known only when it is far too late. The buffalo herds become less mobile, with food and water now readily available everywhere. They enjoy a temporary reprieve from their exhausting migrations. Yet, complacency can be fatal. Lions still stalk the tall grass, ever watchful for an unguarded member. The wildebeest and zebra too disperse across the plains. The Great Migration pauses, but the instinct remains. They continue to graze, building up reserves for the journey ahead when the dry season returns. This cycle is eternal, an ancient rhythm that has shaped this land for millennia. The black rhino continues its solitary existence, the return of vegetation offering it better cover. The threats from humans do not disappear with the seasons. Rangers patrol tirelessly, the silent guardians of these gentle giants. The African wild dogs find hunting easier, as their prey is less concentrated around the waterholes. Their packs roam more freely, a glimmer of hope for this endangered species. Giraffes reach for the freshest leaves, their long necks a perfect adaptation for the season of plenty. Ostriches lead their newly hatched chicks through the grasslands, teaching them their first lessons in survival. Below the water's surface, the Nile crocodiles become less active as the great river crossings have ended. They wait, perfect survival machines, knowing that hunger will bring the herds back to the river's edge. Every creature, from the greatest to the smallest, plays a part in this grand symphony. As the sun sets, painting the African sky in hues of fire, a temporary sense of peace descends. The young play under their mother's watchful eyes. Predators rest, their bellies full. But this quiet is merely an intermission between acts. In the gathering dark, the sounds of the night begin. The roar of a distant lion. The laugh of a gathering hyena clan. The alarm call of a gazelle. This is the music of Africa, a score written in the language of life and death. It has been performed since the dawn of time. The balance is fragile, maintained by a constant struggle. Each creature is a link in an intricate chain. The existence of one depends on the sacrifice of another. The lion, as sovereign, does not rule through cruelty, but through necessity. Its presence shapes the behavior of every other species, from the migration path of the wildebeest to the vigilance of a leopard. It is a force of nature, neither good nor evil. It simply is an icon of power and resilience. And when tomorrow's dawn breaks, the curtain will rise again. The ancient drama will continue on the endless stage of the savannah. Because in the wild, the struggle for life never truly ends. It is a burden. Here, lions do not merely form a family. They inhabit a fortress, forged of ferocity and fidelity. The vanguard of this fortress is the lionesses. They are phantoms in the scorched grass. Without the shield of a mane, nor a vainglorious roar, they wield a far more formidable weapon, coordinated patience. In the hunt, each lioness is a cog in a flawless machine of lethal precision. They hunt not for themselves, but to sustain an entire dynasty. The males, in turn, are the sovereigns, tasked with guarding the frontiers. However, this sovereignty is never permanent. A dominant male will hold his reign for perhaps only 2 to 3 years before being deposed by younger, more aggressive coalitions. The strength of the male and the strategy of the female are interwoven, creating an endless cycle of survival. One, the hunter, the other, the guardian. In the natural world, there is no equity, only the perfect symbiosis required to endure the rigors of time. The natural flow is being choked, and fresh water is becoming a scarce commodity. The sea encroaches upon the land, pushing ecosystems to a state of red alert. Rapid urbanization is steadily shrinking the habitats of wild species. Everglades National Park, an ecological treasure in the heart of America. A mystical and majestic space, recognized with many prestigious titles across the globe. This is home to thousands of rare and endemic species of flora and fauna. Marshes, mangrove forests, and endless prairies combine to form a vibrant and captivating natural tapestry. Beneath the vast sky of southern Florida, A silent battle for survival unfolds each day. The blue eyes of a Florida panther track a white-tailed deer. The great cat glides through the mangrove trees like a stealthy phantom, awaiting the perfect moment to ambush its prey. Each of its steps is also a stand against the encroachment of urbanization, as today only just over 100 individuals remain in the wild. In the brackish water, an American alligator moves in silence, but the current is no longer what it once was. Rising sea levels have ravaged the areas where they used to breed. The Everglades, a land that gives life to an extraordinary biodiversity, is also a battleground where precious creatures face the most devastating changes of the natural world. Woven from the ancient stories of nature, the Everglades is a place where every creature, from the American alligator to the West Indian manatee, exists in a slow but vibrant dance. Everglades National Park is one of the most unique ecosystems in the world. Established in 1947, the park protects over 2,300 square miles of land. The Everglades is the largest tropical wilderness in the United States, and also the largest wilderness area east of the Mississippi River. Overcoming all challenges, the park was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979. Its waters, like the arteries of the earth, were recognized by the Ramsar Convention as a wetland of international importance in 1987. The journey of the Everglades begins with an ancient geological story. It is a vast landmass resting on a layer of Miami limestone, formed millions of years ago during the Pleistocene epoch. Tiny marine organisms, corals, shells, and plankton died and left their sediments like silent pieces building the skeleton of this land. Unlike most national parks that protect geographic formations, Everglades National Park was created with a singular mission: to preserve a fragile ecosystem. It is the most significant breeding ground for tropical wading birds in North America and contains the largest mangrove ecosystem in the Western Hemisphere. The park is home to 36 threatened or protected species, including the Florida panther, the American alligator, and the West Indian manatee. The Everglades is also a haven for more than 350 species of birds, 300 species of fish, 40 species of mammals, and 50 species of reptiles. Freshwater sloughs and marl prairies, two of the 9 recognized ecosystems in the Everglades, silently weave their own rhythm of life. It all begins with the slow but constant movement of water, the essential element that shapes the identity of this land. In the freshwater sloughs, water flows gently from Lake Okeechobee southward at a rate of just 1,300 feet per day. From a distance, these waters may seem still, but they are in fact essential arteries that sustain the aquatic ecosystem, nurturing magnificent plants like sawgrass, which can grow up to 6 feet tall. In contrast, the marl prairies tell a different story. These grasslands are seasonally flooded. Water seeps through the marl, creating a thin sheet of water that lasts only a few months of the year. When the water recedes, periphyton, a mixture of algae and microorganisms clinging to the limestone, emerges and transforms into a grey mud, a silent symbol of the approaching dry season. Both these ecosystems are not just habitats, they also function as true natural reservoirs. They store water during the rainy season and release it gradually during the dry season. Thanks to this, the Everglades maintains its sweet flow and resists the saltwater intrusion from the nearby ocean. Every slough, every prairie is an indispensable piece of the puzzle, sustaining the lives of countless species. The abundance of fish, amphibians, and young birds in the marshes attracts many species of freshwater turtles and reptiles. Among them, the American alligator, Alligator mississippiensis, plays a crucial role. A living icon of this ecosystem, the American alligator not only exists, but also maintains the natural balance. The flooded sloughs and marl prairies are essential habitats where the American alligator thrives. Although it once faced extinction in the 20th century, the species was removed from the endangered species list in 1987. Thanks to active conservation efforts, the American alligator population has increased significantly, being more abundant in the Everglades than anywhere else in Florida. From being considered a critical patient on the endangered species list, there are now over 1,250,000 individuals in Florida alone. Mature male alligators can reach lengths of 13 to 15 feet, while females are smaller, reaching a maximum of 10 feet. However, in southern Florida, both sexes tend to be smaller, with characteristically broad snouts. The female alligator chooses high ground to build her nest, protecting her eggs from floods that could destroy them in just a few hours. The nests can be up to 3 feet high and are carefully guarded by the mother throughout the 58 to 63-day incubation period. In the early stages of its life, an American alligator's diet consists mainly of insects, small fish, and frogs. As it grows, the alligator expands its menu. It hunts larger fish, turtles, birds, and even small mammals. They often position themselves on the banks of freshwater sloughs or marl prairies, where they can remain motionless for over 90% of the time. For larger prey, like the white-tailed deer or wild hog, the alligator uses its famous technique known as the death roll. They spin their bodies, tearing and completely unbalancing the prey, leaving no chance for escape. We have seen the American alligator as an apex predator, but its most crucial role is revealed when the dry season arrives. As the water level in the sloughs recedes, the alligator uses its powerful snout and tail to dig deep holes, known as gator holes. These holes are not just a refuge for the alligator itself. When much of the Everglades dries up, they become the last oases, precious reservoirs of fresh water. Fish, turtles, birds, and even mammals come here to survive the harsh, dry season. In this way, the American alligator unwittingly becomes an ecosystem engineer. It not only hunts to survive, but it also shapes its habitat, becoming an unwilling guardian for dozens of other species. Without these engineers, life in the Everglades would struggle to survive through the scorching summer months. It is also in these still waters that the great blue heron spreads its wings, a living emblem of the Everglades ecosystem. Standing up to 4 feet tall with a wingspan of nearly 7 feet, it is the largest heron in North America. The freshwater sloughs, natural channels where water flows slowly, are its ideal hunting grounds. When the rainy season ends and the marl prairies begin to crack from lack of water, the great blue heron moves to the few remaining wetlands, where it patiently awaits its prey. Under the brilliant Everglades sun, the great blue heron stands like a motionless statue in the shallow water. Its long legs and waterproof plumage allow it to move easily through the freshwater sloughs and marl prairies without disturbing the environment. When prey, be it a fish, an amphibian, or even a small mammal, glides by, the great blue heron reacts with a lightning-fast motion, launching its long neck and sharp bill into the water. It can capture its prey in just 1/10 of a second from the moment of detection, thanks to its extremely fast reflexes and absolute concentration. Thanks to this precision skill, the great blue heron's success rate in the freshwater sloughs is between 60 and 70%, according to a 2023 report. Beyond its role as a formidable predator, the great blue heron also plays a crucial part in maintaining ecological balance. By feeding on fish and amphibians, this species helps to control prey populations, preventing overgrowth that could alter the dynamics of the ecosystem. Amidst the arid lands of the Everglades, the pine rockland ecosystem emerges like a vibrant tableau. Although it occupies only 2% of the park's area, this ecosystem is one of the most vital, protecting a unique biodiversity. The exposed limestone bedrock and extremely thin soil make the pine rocklands a true challenge for life. However, the South Florida/pine rises strongly from cracks in the rock, where water and soil accumulate in small pockets. Amidst the dense pine forests and the arid rocky terrain of the Everglades pine rockland ecosystem, the Florida panther moves with an agile body and a keen eye. This cat is one of the top predators in Florida and a unique subspecies of the cougar. The tall pines and the open spaces between them provide an ideal hunting environment where prey is abundant and accessible. However, not all areas of the Everglades are suitable for this species. Since most of the park is covered by wetlands, the Florida panther population is reduced and mostly confined to higher elevation areas like the pine rocklands. The Florida panther is currently on the endangered species list, with an estimated population of only 120 to 230 individuals, living mainly in southern Florida. Previously, the species was distributed throughout the southeastern United States, but its current range occupies less than 5% of its original territory. Its primary prey is the white-tailed deer, which makes up 70 to 90% of its diet, thanks to this species' abundance in the area. With silent steps and lightning speed, the panther approaches its target stealthily and takes it down with powerful pounces and a fatal bite. In the pine forests of the Everglades pine rockland ecosystem, the presence of the white-tailed deer dictates the rhythm of balance for the entire ecosystem. With over 30 million individuals distributed across the United States, this deer is a crucial part of the Everglades ecological picture. The white-tailed deer makes up 70 to 90% of the Florida panther's diet, playing a fundamental role in the food chain. A white-tailed deer consumes between 4.5 to 6.5 pounds of food per day. Its diet varies with the seasons, consisting mainly of shrubs, leaves, acorns, and occasionally grasses. The white-tailed deer has a flexible social structure that changes with the seasons. During the rut, which usually occurs from October to December, males and females live separately and only meet to mate. After the breeding season, males are often solitary or in small groups, while females form groups of 3 to 5 individuals with their young. During the rut, males compete fiercely for breeding rights. Females tend to choose the strongest males with the largest antlers as mates. The antlers are not only an indicator of good health, but also of competitive ability. This process ensures a stronger next generation and a genetically healthy population in the long run. Under the clear skies of the Everglades, the northern mockingbird stands out with its elegant and vibrant demeanor. Its silvery grey plumage allows it to blend into the arid landscape of the pine rocklands, but whenever it takes flight, its characteristic white wing patches flash brilliantly. With a wingspan of 12 to 15 inches and a weight of about 1.5 to 2 ounces, this bird has a small but extremely agile body. In the harsh environment of the pine rocklands, where sparse vegetation and limestone dominate the ground, the northern mockingbird finds its nourishment through a varied diet. The small insects hidden under the bark and the berries hanging among the branches are its source of energy to survive the harshest dry seasons. The northern mockingbird is known for its incredible ability to mimic the songs of other birds and the sounds of its surroundings, including car alarms or mobile phone ringtones. It is believed that this ability plays a fundamental role in establishing and defending territory, as well as in attracting mates. Males, who can mimic a wider variety of sounds, are often more successful in both defending their territory and attracting females. The mechanism behind this ability is based on the mockingbird's capacity to learn and remember sounds for long periods. Some individuals can mimic up to 200 different sounds, including the songs of at least 35 different species. Also in the Everglades pine rockland ecosystem, the loggerhead shrike stands out as a small but skillful predator. With its strong, hooked beak, this bird hunts not only insects and small birds, but also small mammals like mice. Most characteristically, the loggerhead shrike uses thorns or sharp branches to impale its prey, creating a unique image reminiscent of natural clothes hooks. In the vastness of the Everglades, where water flows slowly through endless marshes, tropical hardwood hammocks emerge like unique ecological islands. Just 1 to 3 feet above sea level, these dry lands are firm points amidst a sea of grass and seasonal water. Thanks to this elevation, they escape prolonged floods, creating an ideal refuge for many unique species of flora and fauna. Beneath the canopy is another world. The undergrowth and dense thickets create a perfect sanctuary for the Florida black bear, the white-tailed deer, and especially the Florida panther. These animals find a sanctuary in the hammocks during the dry season, where water is scarce but shade is plentiful. Seen from the sky, these hammocks look like teardrops scattered amidst the slow-flowing water, preserving life amidst the wild nature of the Everglades. Perhaps they are the tears of creation, shed to preserve life in this landscape that, despite seeming desolate, is full of hope. Under the shade of the tropical hardwood hammocks, the Florida black bear finds refuge and an abundant food source. This is a unique subspecies of the American black bear, with an estimated population of around 4,000 individuals in Florida in 2023. Only a small fraction of these live in the Everglades. These dense tropical forests provide not only safe shelters, but also important mating grounds. The vegetation of the tropical hardwood hammocks offers a plentiful food source, with broad-leaved species like mahogany and southern live oak, creating a rich and stable environment year-round for the Florida black bear. In spring and summer, they search for insects and feed on succulent plants. When autumn arrives, their diet shifts to fruits and nuts, especially from the serval palm and wild olive. Thanks to its omnivorous diet, the Florida black bear plays an essential role in preserving plant diversity. In the ecosystem of the tropical hardwood hammocks, by moving far from the parent plant, the bear disperses the seeds of more than 20 different species through its droppings, thereby promoting the regeneration of the forest. Only in the tropical hardwood hammocks does the gray fox move through the Everglades with remarkable agility and adaptability. It is the only canid whose natural range includes both North and South America. The gray fox possesses a compact and flexible body, ranging from 31 to 44 inches long, including the tail, and weighing between 6.5 and 15 pounds, allowing it to move easily through dense forests. Its gray fur provides excellent camouflage in low-light environments, where sunlight barely penetrates the canopy. As an omnivore, the gray fox consumes a wide variety of foods, including insects, small mammals like mice and squirrels, bird eggs, fruits, and edible tropical plants. In the summer, about 40% of its diet consists of insects and small mammals. Conversely, in the fall and winter, fruits and nuts make up to 60% of its food intake. One of the most remarkable features of the gray fox is its impressive ability to climb trees. Unlike most other canids, It can ascend branches to escape larger predators like the Florida panther or the red wolf. This skill also allows it to access elevated food sources, such as fruits and insects, giving it a significant advantage to survive and thrive in the challenging environment of the Everglades. From late winter to midsummer, the northern cardinal chooses low bushes in the tropical hardwood hammocks to build its nest in safe places. The northern cardinal has entered its breeding season. The dense layers of foliage in these hammocks provide a perfect hideout, helping them protect their eggs and young from predators and harsh weather conditions. Under the shade of the tropical hardwood hammocks, the northern cardinal shines with its brilliant red plumage. The male, with its distinctive crest and a black mask around its beak, measures 8 to 9 inches long and weighs between 1.5 to 1.7 ounces. The female, in contrast, has a paler reddish-brown plumage, but with streaks of red on its wings, tail, and crest, giving it a subtle elegance. The northern cardinal is not only beautiful, but is also known for its powerful song, especially in dense forests. As an omnivorous bird, the northern cardinal's diet consists of seeds, fruits, and insects. About 70% of its diet is made up of seeds and fruits, especially berries. During the breeding season, the northern cardinal increases its consumption of insects to ensure an adequate source of protein to feed its young. During that time, insects account for up to 40% of its diet. Thanks to this behavior, the northern cardinal contributed to a 20% reduction in harmful insect populations in 2024, thus helping to protect vegetation and maintain the stability of the ecosystem. The dense forests of the tropical hardwood hammocks also provide ideal shelter and nesting sites for the southern bald eagle. With its head covered in white feathers contrasting with the dark plumage of its wings, the southern bald eagle creates a majestic and imposing image. With a powerful wingspan of up to 7 feet, each dive from above carries a presence of power and strength, like a living symbol of freedom. In the dense forests of the tropical hardwood hammocks, The southern bald eagle often builds its nests in tall, sturdy trees like oaks and palms. The nests are impressive structures that can weigh hundreds of pounds and are reused for many years, becoming a symbol of resilience in nature. In the tropical forests of the tropical hardwood hammocks, where lagoons, marshes, and streams intertwine, the southern bald eagle finds the perfect environment for hunting. It is a large bird of prey with a wingspan of 6 to 7.5 feet and a weight of 6.5 to 13 pounds. As a sea eagle, its diet is primarily based on fish, which constitutes 60 to 90% of its food intake. In addition to fish, it also hunts birds and small mammals, and at times does not hesitate to feed on carrion. In the darkness of the tropical hardwood hammocks at night, the unmistakable call of the barred owl echoes. It is a distinctive sound that many remember as "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" Its call can be heard from up to half a mile away through the dense forest, marking its territory and serving as a means of communication with its mate. The barred owl is a nocturnal predator with large eyes that allow it to see clearly in the darkness beneath the dense canopy. Its silent flight, combined with its exceptional vision, allows it to hunt without being detected. As we venture deeper into the Cypress Dome ecosystem, the landscape of the Everglades unfolds like a masterpiece of nature, with cypress forests stretching as far as the eye can see. This is one of the most important wetlands in the region, where still, stable water allows the cypress trees to thrive. The dome cypresses grow in clusters, with the tallest trees in the center and smaller ones at the edges, creating a characteristic dome shape. The tall cypress trees are also nesting sites for many bird species, forming a vibrant ecosystem. At their base, mammals find safe shelter, completing a picture of biodiversity where every creature contributes to the balance of the natural environment. Amidst the vast swamps and slow-moving streams of the Everglades Cypress Dome ecosystem, the river otter finds its ideal home. In this environment, the still waters and dense vegetation form a network of wetlands, where these otters can easily hide and hunt without being seen. Underwater, they glide through narrow channels and flooded prairies in search of food, mainly fish and other aquatic species. River otters are not just solitary creatures. They also form small groups of 2 to 5 individuals, cooperating closely in hunting and sharing territory. They often live in family groups consisting of a mother and her young, using burrows they dig themselves or take over from other species for shelter. As a semi-aquatic species, the river otter stands out for its great dexterity when hunting underwater. Thanks to its agility and flexibility, it pursues fish, crustaceans, and occasionally amphibians. Their whiskers are highly sensitive, allowing them to detect movements in the water even when visibility is limited. Although they often hunt alone, they can also cooperate in groups, increasing their success rate by 20%, especially in deeper waters. River otters play a crucial role in the ecological balance of the Everglades cypress dome ecosystem. According to a 2024 study, otters can reduce small predatory fish populations in wetlands by up to 30%, which alleviates pressure on larger fish species. Otters also compete for resources with other large predators, like alligators, making them a key component in maintaining the delicate balance of the cypress dome ecosystem. In the tranquility of the cypress dome ecosystem, the anhinga perches on a branch or rock with its wings spread wide, drying its feathers and regulating its body temperature. With a body that can be up to 35 inches long and a weight of about 2.5 pounds, the anhinga is capable of diving deep to catch fish and other aquatic animals. However, after these dives, its feathers become waterlogged, making it heavier and limiting its ability to fly. Its flight capability is highly dependent on sunning, which allows it to dry its feathers quickly, especially in the hot, humid climate of the Everglades. The anhinga is a specialized aquatic predator, recognized by its long, sharp beak that allows it to spear and catch fish with great precision. Fish make up to 90% of its diet, according to a 2024 study, while the rest consists of amphibians and small crustaceans. Thanks to its webbed feet, the anhinga swims with agility, gliding underwater like a silent spear, using the shadows to approach its prey without being detected. Through its underwater hunting style, the anhinga plays an essential role in regulating fish populations, helping to maintain the balance of the ecosystem. A 2024 study showed that the anhinga can consume up to 50% of the small fish in some freshwater areas of the Everglades, thus contributing to the ecological stability of the environment. Along the coast of southern Florida, the majestic aerial roots of the red mangrove rise like natural fortifications, holding back the onslaught of waves and storms. Where the land meets the sea, the mangrove forest stretches, embracing the coastline. This system acts not only as a shield, but also as a natural nursery. In these nutrient-rich, brackish waters, the red mangrove, with its prominent roots, helps to stabilize the soil and prevent coastal erosion. Black mangroves and white mangroves form different forest layers, each playing an essential role in maintaining the ecosystem. This is also a vibrant territory, teeming with biodiversity. Birds, fish, and crustaceans gather here, with more than 220 species of fish existing in this unique brackish water environment. The shallow, nutrient-rich waters under the mangrove canopy provide an ideal place for reproduction, protecting the young from predatory threats. The delicate balance of the food chain is maintained by these fish. They serve as a food source for birds and mammals, while also regulating crustacean and amphibian populations. Each morning, as the sun illuminates the mangrove forests, flocks of wading birds spread their wings and fly across the sky, creating scenes full of life. The brackish ecosystem of the mangrove forest provides them not only with shelter, but also with an abundant source of food. We have seen the American alligator as an apex predator, but its most crucial role is revealed when the dry season arrives. As the water level in the sloughs recedes, the alligator uses its powerful snout and tail to dig deep holes, known as gator holes. These holes are not just a refuge for the alligator itself. When much of the Everglades dries up, they become the last oases, precious reservoirs of fresh water. Fish, turtles, birds, and even mammals come here to survive the harsh, dry season. In this way, the American alligator unwittingly becomes an ecosystem engineer. It not only hunts to survive, but it also shapes its habitat, becoming an unwilling guardian for dozens of other species. through the scorching summer months. Among these birds, the brown pelican stands out with a wingspan of 6.5 to 8 feet and a unique hunting technique. With an average weight of 6.5 to 11 pounds, it is one of the most iconic species of coastal and mangrove areas. The brown pelican uses a gular pouch under its bill to catch fish, achieving a success rate of up to 60%, especially during seasons of abundant food. In the past, this species was on the brink of extinction due to the use of the pesticide DDT. Thanks to conservation efforts, their numbers have recovered significantly. Another wading bird that stands out in the mangrove ecosystem is the American white ibis, often seen wading in shallow waters. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that the ibis was the embodiment of the god Thoth, the god of wisdom and knowledge. Its long, thin, downward curving bill allows it to probe for crustaceans hidden under the mud. Unlike many other wading birds, the white ibis feeds primarily on crabs and shrimp. This dietary preference allows it to control crustacean populations, helping to maintain the ecological balance of the mangrove ecosystem.